always leave a job, but you need to make sure you have another one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just leave and not have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So that you can have money coming in, right?
Yeah.
So when you leave a church, you need to know that that this is, I'm no longer growing. And not because of people, because here's the deal. When I first got to the first church, I had what you call, it was church cliques. I was a part of the church clique. Did you hear me? I was a part of the church clique. So, yeah, I hope all of y'all heard me. I was a part of a church clique. So I know what church cliques do. I know how they act. I know what they say. I know what goes on. So if you allow the church cliques to, meaning that whatever they tell you in their ear about someone in the church. So when I first came to this church, as soon as I got there, of course, somebody snatched me up, right? And they went telling me about everybody in the church, right? Yeah. Everybody, I didn't even get a chance to know the people for myself. So is that the right reason to leave? Is because of what they said about somebody? And now I'm feeling a certain way? No. Wow. But if I'm no longer growing, and maybe they have told me too much and I can't hear the preacher. Yeah, you got to take a step back. At my second church, the same thing happened with the church clique, right? I stepped back. I stopped going to church. I quit. My husband was still a minister. The one I prayed for the Lord to take, Lord, please let him be, because he was crazy. So I said, Lord, please let him be a minister. Let him get saved. And he did. So he's a minister by this time. I quit the church because I was tired. I was tired of the mess. I was tired of the church hurt. I was tired of getting into it with people in the choir. I was just sick of it. So I quit. But I believe because I allowed those in the church to get in my ear about other people in the church made me take a step back. And it wasn't until I took a step back away from the church to where I felt like, okay, I'm now seeing that that's not really what was going on, right? So you may have that problem. But the second thing is you're not growing. You're not growing. You're just sitting there and you're stuck and you're not growing. It's time for you to leave. And here's the other thing I learned. I checked this out. I learned this from R.A. Vernon, is that I can't serve my mama's God.
Why?
God doesn't have no grandchildren. He has children. So if I'm going to church because my mom went to church here, this is where she's growing. My mama not going to take me to heaven. So I need to find somewhere I can grow. So if you feel like that you're stuck and you're not growing, you don't see the evidence of growth, and you can no longer hear your pastor because of the chatter that's happening, maybe you need to go ahead and go. But you need to make sure that you go somewhere that you can be filled. Here's the thing. Why church? It's not about the four walls of the church. It's about being connected to somebody that can hold you accountable. Not tell you how to live, not tell you what to do, but that can hold you accountable and feed your spirit, because there's some things that pastors have tapped into that other people haven't tapped into. Not saying that we're better than, but every call is different. Does that make sense? Even though I'm young, I'm a young girl, but even though I'm young, I've experienced some things that has given me wisdom to walk this thing out. Your pastor that you dated and you learn and you wonder why am I learning from him? Why am I growing? You find out you want to be an entrepreneur all of a sudden. You want to go to college. It taps you into something totally different that a pastor should be able to not be in competition with you, but be to a point to where they're pushing you into your divine potential that's going to be able to birth out so that you can be a disciple to so many others outside the church. Your job is to come to the church to get led, to get fed, so that you can go out and pull others to Christ, not to this church, not to whatever church, whatever God leads them. And I think that's what happened, is that people are scared to leave a church because they don't want to look like church hoppers. Okay? But here's the thing. Oh, Lord, I've never talked about this. But here's the thing. When you church hopping, you're just jumping from what, because somebody that made you mad. That's a church hopper. You're just jumping from one church to the other because somebody made you mad, and so you decided to quit. Now, let's say that your pastor, like you said earlier, your pastor, he didn't protect you. That's your daughter. You got to protect her from another youth pastor. When there's a problem when that's not happening, when there's no protection that's taking place.
And that is so deep for me, because I felt, I would have expected that outside of the church. I can handle that. You know, I would be like, what are you doing? But in the church, I just didn't know how to react. Obviously, I moved and I said, stop. But then it's like, what do you then do? Because I know how to handle it outside the church. And I didn't want how I would handle it outside the church to then bring it into the church, because it wouldn't be nice. So it was, and then saying it and then never getting that response, the way you just handle it or help me out to be able to think, was just a bit like, so is that acceptable then? Is that normal to do? And it just made you think, like, you know, but knowing how I am and how I've been brought up, no.
I'm about to say something that's probably going to make every pastor mad, but I don't care. They don't know me. So, and don't come research me and don't come for me, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm about to say this. Sometimes pastors that are leading unhealthy. Let me say that. That are leading unhealthy. What happens is maybe they didn't say nothing because they were trying to keep that member. Maybe they didn't say anything because, and I think that's the problem. So any pastor that's here listening, it's our job to protect. Not that we don't have to have our hands in everything, but if you bring it to us and you come to us in confidentiality about what went on, it's our job to make sure that we protect. And if we're not protecting, what are we doing? Trying to make sure we keep the musician or keep the youth pastor or keep the, no. We need to correct, protect and correct. I think that's not happening a lot, but I mean, to each his own.
No, but that is so true, because I don't feel like the protect and the correct is there. It's more like just come to church. Because I remember I was told, like, no matter what, just come to church. No matter if you just go to the party, just come to church. I've never got the correction of saying, that is not right. That's not godly. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't, like, I've always been told, you know, even if you just left, just come to church. And I was just, there will be no, like, don't, you know, this is not right, and to teach you it. So you're right that we need the correct and the protect, because I felt like if someone would have guided me, corrected me and told me this is wrong, there would be certain mistakes I wouldn't have made in my life, you know, right now. So it would be nice to have that as a pastor, to be able to say, okay, this is not right. This is not how God would expect you to live. Because as a young Christian growing up, I didn't read the Bible 24/7, and I didn't understand the word of God. So having someone else that's more deeper and in tune with God to guide you and help you and lead you to that way, or to tell you biblically scriptures to guide you, would be really good. Because I have a lot of people that say to me that you can drink because Jesus turned water into wine. Like, you know, and I'm saying, like, for me personally, I don't drink, and I don't know how to respond to that, because, okay, if he turned it into wine, maybe it's non-alcoholic wine. I don't know. So it's like, and then they use that to then say they can drink, and then it's just like, okay, but within myself, I've been convicted by the Holy Spirit not to do that.
That's the difference.
I know that that's wrong. So my conviction is telling me that, no, that's not right. You don't drink. And then I have friends be like, but you can. The Bible says you shouldn't be a drunkard person. So you can have, but you can't get drunk. No, darling. The Holy Spirit just convicted me not to drink. So I'm not going to drink. So it's just having that, even though it's not in the Bible, you getting taught to say that God will then convict you personally not to do something, so you know that it's from God, even though it's not in the Bible, not to do it. So it's just like that type of teaching will then help these young upcoming, you know, pastors, ministers and believers. And I think, like, we need these teachings. So that is so true. And I didn't even know about dating the church. So, Pastor, you've blessed me so much about dating it, because I know how it is with my friendship and my relationship. But I never looked at the church as dating. I just go into a church expecting that this is it. And then getting boom, that hurts. So it's good to know that you date it, pray about it. Just because.
And research. That Google could be your best friend. Research the church.
Yes. That's so true. I had a question quickly that said, what happens when the leaders need the correction?
Ooh, like the pastor?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's what they're saying. So when it comes out, the leader, I say this is my saying, this is what I've done for years.
Yeah.
Every leader How can you tell me who you over if you can't tell me who you're under?
Mm.
Learned that from R.A. Vernon. How can you tell me who you're over if you can't tell me who you're under? So every leader should have a covering. We have a covering, my spiritual parents, that holds us accountable. So if my husband act up and he do something crazy at the church, guess who I'm calling? My leaders, so that they could be able to give us the sound protection that we need. Or if we were to have an issue or a problem, or let's say if my husband cheat, I pray that's not the case, praise the Lord. But because I'm not that girl, I mean, I don't know what the Lord will do. But anyway, but with my husband, if he was to cheat or mess with another woman at the church, I would go to them. They've been together 30 years. I was in their ministry for almost 12 years, and I've been under their leadership for 17 years. So you have to have somebody that can hold you accountable, that has the example that you've seen, that you watched, that you've dated, that can help you, because leaders need help too. And guess what? If my husband wants to do that, he'll sit us both down. We need to sit down. Not that he runs our church. It's not that kind of party, but we'll make sure our ministers or someone just to cover us and protect us. I'm reminded of the guy in the Bible where his sons had to come and cover him. You just need to be covered for a moment. Take a step back. It's not that you have, we all fall short of the glory of God. We're all human. But I believe that every pastor needs to be healthy in their marriage, in their ministry, and in their money. We need to be healthy. And if we're not healthy, how can you have and I say this all the time, I got it from R.A. Vernon, my mentor. How can you have a mega marriage, a mega ministry with a storefront marriage as a pastor? That's not going to work. Like that doesn't even look right. And people can sniff and smell that spiritually. So leaders need somebody to get on them and correct them, because we not God. We not Moses. I'm sorry. Moses, we are not Moses. We have a covering. Moses had the Lord. We need a covering because we're human. So
wow. Yeah, and that's so true, because most pastors don't feel like they should be corrected at times. Because
let me tell you why. Because picture this: you walk in and you put everybody put this expectation on the pastors, so they walk around like they're God sent. I mean, and don't get me wrong, because people will make you feel like that, like you're God's gift to the world. We've been there. And what happens is you get on this high horse, and God will have to humble you quickly. Been there. Well, you get on this high horse because everybody is boosting you up and making you feel like that you're great and you're awesome and you're this. So you walk around with the big head. And now you're not praying anymore. Now you're not seeking God. And this is me. This is what I've been through. Now you're not seeking God, because when you get behind the pulpit, all of a sudden gifts come without repentance. So you can do it in your sleep after a while, right?
Yeah.
You can do it in your sleep. So now you have nobody. Now you got everybody lifting you up. So I don't need nobody to cover me. I know the Lord. Everything working out. My ministry growing. We good. No, you still need covering. You still need someone to speak life into you.
Wow. Oh my God, Pastor, you are amazing. This is God is speaking through you. That is so true. Wow.
Yeah. Think about it. My husband and I, we started our ministry. It was 11 years ago. And when we started, like, we were like 30, 60 strong, right? And then we started booming. I'm talking about butts in the seats, 200 in the seat. Can you imagine? Man, new and we're young? Oh my God. That'll make you think you just know everything and you know nothing. Because guess what? We're only 11 years old. If you really look at it. We were only 1 year old. We were babies as pastors. We didn't know nothing. We knew nothing and thought we knew everything. But we had leaders to speak into our life and said, get the people off your heart. You're about to fail quickly. You need that. So you need leaders. I'm sorry.
You do. Wow. That is so deep. And do you feel like, as well as, do you feel like as Christians, do you think counseling is good? Because the reason I ask you this is that I was told that as Christians by a pastor that I didn't need counseling. I can just go to God and I don't need to speak to another person about my issues. So and that made me question all the time. Sometimes there's things that it's not spiritual or anything like that, but you just want to be able to just let some issues out or speak about stuff. It's like, then am I okay to then go see a therapist? Am I okay to then don't do it? And I just wanted to ask as a pastor, because that's been a seed that I've allowed to enter within my heart, and I've been carrying that for years, where I've just like, maybe I feel when I do see a counselor, I feel guilty, like I'm cheating God. I should have went to him instead of the counselor.
Just like God gives us doctors, we need counselors. I had a meltdown last year. I was so busy pouring out. I know. Oh my God, she had a meltdown. I'm human. Yeah. I was pouring out, and I didn't take time to get poured in. So I was just doing, going. Sometimes we can get so busy doing things, but we don't take out time for ourselves, right? And so I had to realize that there's a real heal me, that other things that I had to deal with. I started writing I have another book dealing with pastor wives, and I started writing it. And, you know, writing takes you to a whole nother, it's like, oh my God. I was like, I didn't know I was still holding that, you know, whatever. And so I had to call a counselor. I say, for me, I could have called my leaders, but I wanted to get a professional spiritual counselor that I knew, to just sit down, that was not a pastor, that was not a leader. So for me, counseling is so important if that's something that you need. And I realized this during that time, that there was some rooted issues that I was dealing with that happened years ago that had nothing to do with church. Nothing at all. Wow. Just to do with me as a person. So I believe that there's nothing wrong with having a counselor at all. Leaders need, if you can't fix it, if me and my husband can't fix it, and we went to our spiritual leaders and they can't fix us, we're going to a counselor. And a spiritual counselor, a man and a woman, because I need both, because I don't need one side, I need both sides. But I would go to a counselor. So I look at that totally different. That's just my preference. I just believe that if God allowed doctors to be able to move in their lane, and you have saved, sanctified, filled, Holy Ghost filled doctors out there that are believers, that have faith. So you mean to tell me I can't have a counselor that has faith?
Wow.
So I'm a little bit different. I don't know.
No, I'm loving it, because that really, really helps me a lot, because I've been through like things outside of the church myself. And I definitely needed a life coach, you know, because I've psychologically and emotionally and mentally, I was gone through a relationship that I went through. It was a domestic abusive relationship. So even though I was praying, I just needed other help to just help me within myself, and just speak about other issues that, you know, dealing with from a young age, you know, not having my father around and looking for that love in the wrong places. So a life coach has helped me to be able to recognize my true value as a person, and then for me to build myself up alongside not building my relationship with Jesus. So it helped. But there was times that I just felt guilty, like, oh, I'm not going to God. I do speak to him, but maybe I shouldn't go to the counselor. So that really just helped. And I think most Christian people as well, that I've around, feel guilty to go to counselors instead of going to God. And I said to him,
I think what happens in the church is that I did a video, it's called Spiritual Mother. What is a spiritual mother? And if we're just looking at our pastors and we don't have a mentor, we don't have a coach. Even though I have my spiritual parents, right? I still have a mentor, Nona Jones. She's my mentor. I just went through her masterclass that I needed to be coached in, right? So Nona Jones. Then I have another mentor, another friend of mine that is like someone that pushes me within my business, right? My life coach. She pushes me within my business, within entrepreneurship, as well as, you know, friends and stuff. So if I just look to just my pastor, that's where the expectation get messed up at, because I'm only looking to him and not other sources, right? And not saying everywhere you're all over the place getting different teaching. No. What I'm saying is that I know what my mentor, Lady Victory Vernon, is my mentor. She's been my mentor for the last 7 years. She don't even know me. but I'm a part of her group. I'm a part of what she does, and I'm a part of the gathering that she has, right? But she's on a whole nother level as a pastor's wife. They have 6 locations, over I don't know how many thousands of people in ministry. She's where I want to be. So that's my mentor. But at the same time, I have a life coach for my entrepreneur. So you got to have different people and know why they're in your life and know how long they're in your life. There's people there for a season, a reason, and a lifetime. The reason is you're just here to get something from me. That's okay. That's cool. That's what you have some people in your life for a season. That's that person that you work with on the job, whatever. They're only there for a season. You're not going to be around each other that much. But then there's a lifetime where y'all push each other and they know all your flaws and they're okay with you and they're not impressed with you. And that's okay. We got to know what category people that we get around are in our lives and got to be okay with that. So at the end of the day, it's just knowing the difference.
Wow. Oh my God. I'm just getting so blessed tonight. I really am. And, you know, this is something that I really wanted to touch on as well. How do you handle confidentiality being broken in leadership? The reason why I say this is because I remember I was going through the domestic abuse relationship, and I told one of the pastor's wives about it. And because at the time I was so nervous to tell my mum. I was so scared. I felt like I've disappointed my mum or I've letting her down to be in that relationship. And I was just like, I was suffering in silence basically. And I just said, you know, I need to, let me speak to this pastor's wife. Maybe she can give me some word of wisdom and, you know, I wouldn't feel bad or feel guilty. And I spoke to her about it, Pastor. And I spoke to her before church. I came to church extra early. I texted her, she said, come in, and I spoke to her about it. And I was crying, I was just expressing myself, you know, offloading everything and just telling her how I feel worthless and everything. Okay, so then just spoke to her. Church is about to start in 20 minutes. Now I'm at church, everything. My mum sitting next to me and everything, and we're there now. And, you know, like, I don't know if that happens at your church, but they will do a prayer and then they will do like Bible studies and stuff like that. And then she was doing the Bible study. And she started to do a Bible study, and then she started to speaking about stuff that pertaining to me. She didn't call my name, but then she would be like, why would you want to be in a relationship when someone's beating you and, you know, saying stuff like that? And then she looked at me while she's speaking. You need to value yourself. God didn't. And I was just thinking, like, everything that I've just told you, you're saying it out loud. Just call my name. I felt so uncomfortable to the point I just had to say to my mum, you know, she's talking about me. I had to look at my mum there and be like, this woman is talking. Like, I was so shocked. I was like, Mum, do you know she's speaking about me? And my mum said, wait, so someone's beating you? Like, it was that bad. My mum's like, that is so disrespectful. And and there was so other personal stuff that I was speaking to her about. And she just was like, I was just on that day, I was just like that. I was just like, wow. And then from that day, I did not trust not even one more pastor. No one. It just made me be like, no way.
That breaks my heart. I apologize for her for that. Yeah. I do. I have a group for Pastor Wife Connection, and this is why. You know, to encourage, to equip, and remind pastor wives, you know, the importance of, you know, confidentiality. It goes back to the part I said earlier about, you know, lead me, listen to me, and love me.
Yeah.
When it comes down to loving me, you should have loved me enough to keep what I've said confidential, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say when that doesn't happen, when it comes from, we got to consider the fact, you know, where it comes from, who released it. You know, if it wasn't the pastor wife, who released it, who allowed it to be released, you know, who allowed it to happen. Because there are sometimes pastors do be preaching, and it'll be something that we've said, you know, in a conference or in a couples thing, but we won't say names, using it as an example, but not that fresh. Not that's too fresh. You don't do that. Not making it right, but most of the time, nobody in the audience know what we're talking about at all, right? And they think they know, but they really don't know.
Uh-huh.
But here's the thing, is that pastors and leaders should love you enough to make sure that whatever you tell them is confidentiality and it goes to no one else. I have sisters, right? I have sisters, and they're not in the church like me, okay?
Yeah.
And with my sisters, they found out something that happened in our church 3 to 4 years later that someone did towards me. Well, they walk up in the church and they're upset, ready to fight. And I'm like, girl, that was like 4 years ago. But here's the thing. What if I would have told before then? My whole church would have been messed up, right? If my family would have got into it. So they got to love you enough to make, I love that person, even though they wrong me. I still love them enough to keep that confidentiality. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to love them enough to keep the confidentiality. So it goes back to the point that I said earlier. You got to date the church. Yeah. You got to consider the fact that, you know, are you hearing a lot that happens that the pastor wife is doing? You know, because we have some pastor wives just don't know how to keep, you know, they just don't keep their mouth closed. But see, when you got a good husband that kind of check you a little bit, you know, I'm an old school girl. And so my husband, he doesn't play that. So it's like, you did what? So I don't want to do anything that he's going to probably make him look bad or make him be mad at me or disappointed in something that I said. So it's all about, again, the pastor, if he's a man. It's all about the pastor that needs to sometimes put his wife in her place in a good way, in a loving way, though. Not like that bad, but you understand what I'm saying?
I hear
that,
you.
You know, women are emotional. Pastors, wives, we're emotional. We're all over the place just like anybody else. Our emotions are up and down, but it doesn't make it right when we go out and we say something that someone told us. So that breaks my heart. I hate that. I do my best. I'm not perfect, but yeah.
And I mean, I have forgiven her, but I mean, that for me was, and because I had trust issues as well, so it just made me just be like, oh my God, it's the same thing in the world is in the church. And as you said, that expectation. So at that moment, I didn't know how to react, but, you know, thank God that I've learnt from those lessons, and, you know, now I'm more equipped and to be able to tackle certain issues. And as you said before, like, you know, the church here it's for a purpose. Like, it helped you to be where you are. It helped you to be who you are today. You know, through all of that, you wouldn't be that experience. Now you can speak and even be able to come here to share it with these ladies and, you know, these women, to be able to empower them, equip them, for them to grow in whatever purpose they want to do. And
guess what? If I didn't go through the church hurt, I wouldn't be able to meet you.
Yes, look at that.
It had to happen.
It had to happen.
So thank you for the hurt.
Oh my, trust. It's so true. And when you do experience like the church hurt or abuse within the church, who do you then speak to?
My husband has a saying, and I totally agree with it, is that frustration goes up, not down. So if there's an issue or there's a problem with someone in the church, frustration goes up. You don't want to go, especially if you're a leader, you don't want to go to someone that doesn't understand. You want to make sure that frustration goes up. It goes up to a higher level to talk to someone. Well, let's say you can't talk to the pastor, you can't talk to the leader. That's when you need that mentor or that life coach or whatever to be able to kind of speak life, because you're still going up and not down. Because when you go down, what happens is you'll find someone that's already contaminated within the church, and you don't want to be the reason to bring more contamination. And now y'all spirits link up, because this person is frustrated with the leadership or with the pastor or whatever, and they're frustrated with people in the church. Now you went down to them, told them your frustration. Now y'all are walking around bitter and broken because the person that's already bitter and broken can't help you. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what happened with me with the church cliques, is that I looked for them to help me with the issues that I was having with the leadership. And they couldn't help me because they had the same issues. So I needed to go to someone up. So I grabbed an older woman that was more wiser, and she is the reason why I gave the church a chance again. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have never gave it. It wasn't my spiritual mother, but it was another woman that had been in church for a while that told me how she went through church hurt, but how she knew the importance of the mandate and the call that was on my life, and how the enemy was trying to snatch me away from church to keep my mouth closed so that I can't meet people like yourself and other people around the world or write my book. Think about it. If I would have stopped, if I would have quit church right then and there, I would not be for book selling books. I would not be a person that's speaking life into women. I would not be a person that speak life into my children. I would not have the relationship that I have with my girls if I did not go back. I would have been a broken, bitter woman. But God knew he had to send someone to speak life into me and not someone that was already in the ditch. Wow. I needed frustration to go up, not down.
Not down.
So I encourage anyone, don't go down, go up. And if you can't go to your pastors and to your leaders and they're not able to have a sound mind to listen and they're it's my way or no way. No. There's a difference in correction and how you correct. Correction should come in love, but at the same time, it's sharp as a knife to where it cuts you. But it's like, but I get it though. You right, Pastor. You right. I probably shouldn't have done that. That was out of order. Because pastors, one thing about pastors, we don't get into everything. Unless you come tell us, we don't know. We may know, but we're not going to say nothing because that's not our job. Because you have to, the cross is too big for me to bear. I heard a dude say that the other day. I can't carry everybody's cross. I can only carry my own. So unless you come and tell us, we don't know. And even if we see it, we're praying that you become strong in it. Because like I said earlier, you're made strong in your weakness. God is made strong in your weak moments. And you need weak moments.
Well, and it's so funny how you say that. We do need weak moments because I feel like I've been through a lot of weak moments in my life. And I was saying to my mum, and I was just saying to her, like, I thought at the moment, like, for me to even come here today, it was a struggle. I had headache. I was not feeling well. And I'm doing my PhD at the moment as well. So I'm doing my PhD, working, running businesses. It's so difficult. And I just feel like, as you said, like, I'm running thin. Like, I need to fill myself up. And I just said to my mom, I don't feel like I can carry on anymore in a sense where to finish my PhD, to do what I need to do. It's like, because and I feel like at the moment I'm dealing with toxic people around me that is not really pushing me or helping me to go where I need to go. It's like I feel like I'm dealing with vision killers. And it's really affecting my growth, and it's really putting that strain on my mental well-being. And today I just did not feel myself, Pastor. Like I literally was just saying, I don't think I can do today. I can't, because like I am going through within myself, because having this person around and just trying to manage everything, and you having that, it's so hard to deal with. And I just say to my mom, like, I said to mom, I can't, I'm breaking, and there's times where I have to question, like, where is the God that I'm serving through this? Because it's so hard. And I'm so blessed that I came today, because you taught me so much that I didn't even know about, and you've just helped to equip me, and you just giving me strength that you didn't even know. So I really appreciate you, because it's so difficult at times. And I'm saying and my mom always say to me, if someone is toxic or draining your energy, you need to cut them off. But then what about if they're supposed to be in your life? Because you need that weak moment to then strengthen you. But then that weak moment, I feel like it's killing me.
Here's the thing. It's not that you cut them off. And I learned this from an amazing woman, Carla Cannon, is that you untie them.
Jesus.
Don't cut them off. You untie them. You give them what they need. You got to know why they're in your life, right? You got to know which area. Are you here for a reason, a season, a lifetime? And here's the thing. We get mad at people that are there for a reason because they're pulling the life out of us.
Yes.
Because they're there for a reason, right? Our job is to know what is your reason. And it's for us to identify what your reason is and why are you here. And God, I'm not going to cut them off, but I'm going to untie. What is untie? I might not, be around you all the time like that. But I'm gonna let it be known, because maybe we're friends and maybe we've been close. But I want to introduce the new me, right? By letting you know, hey, I'm not gonna be calling you that much anymore. Just kind of let you know, because what happens is we just cut. I'm gonna just stop calling. I'm gonna stop texting. I'm gonna stop coming over, and I'm done. So now you make them feel some type of way when they could have been your calling, and God had something on the inside of you for you to be able to manifest for them. And now we done missed the moment because I can't do this no more. Untie. When I untie and I let you know and I make the presence known that I am untying, now we can move on. Because whatever you need, I want to make sure that I'm able to give it to you healthy. Give it to you in a healthy way. And you know why we feel like this? And I say we, because we in this thing together, right?
Yeah.
We feel like, oh my God, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm all over the place. Oh my goodness. And what happens is that the enemy wants to swift, am I saying that right? As wheat. He wants to take us to where if I can just shut your mouth and make you not say nothing else, and make you feel drained, make you feel like you're weak, make you feel like you need to give up and not do another live, another virtual show, anything I can do to shut you up. Wow. I need to do it. So I'm going to God allows the people to come, but now the enemy creates chaos within the people that creates the toxic, right? And now because you're toxic, I want to cut you off. No. When you are a trailblazer, come here, Nicole. I know it ain't about this, but when you are a trailblazer, what happens with a trailblazer, because you're on the front line, you're always going to get hit. But the question is, can you still stand on the front line with your shield on, ready to fight? Because that's what's happening. We are in a battle. When we're helping people on the airways, when we're helping people in front of us, when we're helping people on our street, in our city, in our country, when we're doing that, we're standing on the front line. In the enemy, I have my moments where I don't. I told you earlier, I don't. Yeah. But I realize there's a blessing in my pressing. If I just press my way through and get to it, like we're talking right now, there's something that I'm going to hear, or something God is going to do that's going to shift me and create this metamorphosis that he was already creating, because I was in a cocoon state where I wanted to quit. And because I was in the cocoon state, you didn't know trailblazers have cocoon moments. We want to get in a cocoon and say, no. When God said, no, you are busting out of the seams of this area, and I'm about to take you somewhere else, and I'm about to make you strong in that area. Every time I get weak, I preach Sunday. Every time I get weak, oh my God, God opens another door. Can I tell you, a couple of weeks ago, just in a moment of, oh my God, what am I doing? Nobody's listening. You have your moments, right?
Yes.
All of a sudden, you send me your message via email. God, every time you get weak, God opens another door. You get weak again, God opens another door. What we got to do, come on, my husband preached the other day. When Peter walked on the water, there were other people in the boat watching. And while they're in there watching, Peter still had to move. He had to do something that was unfamiliar, unknown, never heard of, but people are still talking about Peter today. Wow. Because he left his legacy. Baby, when you leave in a legacy, it comes with some pain. But we got to realize, man, in my weak moments, God, I'm like Paul, it's a thorn in my side, but I got to keep going. I can't give up. I can't quit, because even though this thorn is here, God, you're going to teach me something. And in that teaching, I'm going to learn something great. I'm going to learn something. My words are, I'm going to learn, I'm going to love, I'm going to lead, and I'm going to listen. Hashtag repeat. Learn, love, lead, and listen. Every time. Those are my key points. God gave me that last year in my weak moment.
Wow, learn love.
In my weak moment, I woke up and God said, I need you to learn. I need you to love. I need you to listen. And I need you to lead. Hashtag repeat. I made a t-shirt with it. Learn, love, lead. Because guess what? That's what we do when we're on the front line. Every lesson is a blessing. Wow. We just got to learn it. It don't feel good.
No.
It does not. Ever.
And no matter how much love I show this person, they just keep killing me. They keep just digging me. And they just never see what they do. It's always you're the issue. And it kills me, Pastor, because I'm just saying to God, is it time for me to cut them off? Because I just need them to be cut off. But what you just said, no, don't cut, untie. Because God, if you don't want to change and you're calling yourself a Christian and you're saying you want to know God, and then you're keep being a delayance and doing things to block my progress. And then you're saying you care, you want to help me to build God. I'm just to the point. I say to God, if I have to have this person around, I'd rather give up everything that is connected to them just so I don't have to deal with them. Because because Nicole is going through with that person. It's been years and I'm just dying in it and I'm just silencing it. And I'm just so tired of it. And to the point I just said, I can't do anymore, God. I was crying from my belly, just saying, this pain, this toxicness is too much for me to bear nor to carry. And for you to just tell me, it's not about cutting them, it's just untying them. I just needed that because I just didn't know.
And I think too, because we didn't put all of these years in together, because that was something I liked about you, right? For us to be friends this long or whatever, be connected. It was something about you that made me like you, right? Yeah. But here's the thing, is that when our season, our time, or whatever this is, let's make an announcement. And the announcement is between you and them, right? Yeah. And once we do, and I think we were never taught that. We just walk away and we're done. And we hurt people in the process. We hurt people in the process. So letting them know, and you'll see, they'll slowly, before you know it, they're no longer around because they don't like this new untie. They don't like this. Well, what are you going to say? I told you that I'm not going to call you no more. Oh, okay. Thank you. Because you just helped my character. Because that way you're leaving away free. And you're not leaving away saying, but what if I would have, or what if, or how, you're not leaving in that vein. You're leaving in the vein of, I did my part and I love you and you may never understand. And guess what? It's so easy to say no. No, it's so simple. It's just so simple. No. It's so simple yet so hard. Wow. So I encourage you, man, like, untie, don't cut them, because you don't know what, Lord may be still working on them. They're watching your footstep, and maybe that's why they're causing the craziness. I know that's what happened to me. I would have people around me where they caused craziness, but they were so big, they looked up to me, but yet hated me. Like, where they do that at? Yeah. So they looked up to me and hated me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you hate me. But at the same time, you're watching everything I do. You're watching my feet, and didn't realize that I was really being a light. But I cut you off too soon. And because I cut you off too soon, you were able to go and contaminate others by telling them what I did do, which was true. Cut you off.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is like one of your woman ministry right now happening here, because I needed this, because I literally was like, before I came on, I had to take 2 pills for my migraine. I've just been having migraine because of just the whole thing going on in my life right now. But then just to have you just saying to me, it's not about cutting them, it's about untying them. I needed that, and I needed that word, and I'm so glad that I've received it, because that's just one thing I need to do, because I'm keep saying to myself, I need to protect my mental well-being. I need to protect myself. I needed to it's just the constant toxicness to deal with on a constant daily basis, and it really hurts as well, because it's coming from people that are saying they're Christians and that they believe in the same God. And then if you are, why are you then trying to prevent the word of God or what I'm trying to do to help people? You kind of block it and delay it.
Because everybody's growth is different. That's why you're on the front line. Everybody's growth is different, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's the expectation, is everybody in church needs to have it together. No, 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 no. Everybody learned it. Like you said about the conviction,
Yeah.
about drinking. Some people say there's nothing wrong with drinking. Guess what? It's your preference. But you don't learn it until you grow more in God, right? So
Yeah.
because you've learned a lot, because you've grown a lot, it's things that you know. That's where that wisdom comes in, that knowledge comes in. Age, when it comes to anointing and age and wisdom, age has nothing to do with it. It's about your wisdom that you get it. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, I get it that, people, let's say somebody walk into church with short skirt on, with their back out and their breast up, and everybody else is looking at them crazy. And I'm like, hey, sugar, come here.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
but not, and I don't judge you, because this is the thing. We can't judge my Bishop Woodard. We can't judge what we don't understand. If you've never been there, how can you judge? We can't judge so what happens is, as you learn and you grow, your eyes, it's those, what you call the skulls, that God takes off your eyes for you to see more clear. And he's so much deeper. He's so much bigger than what we could ever imagine, right? So you're not the woman that you were last year, right?
No.
You're not the woman you were last month.
Mm-mm.
But here's the thing. It's so much you learn that you could turn around and look at somebody that's in your crew or somebody that you know, and you like, man, if I could only just tell them that, like I'm telling you now, like, girl, I've been where you at. I was just there last year.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like I get it now. But what we do, some people, is that, oh Lord, here she go again. Oh my God, because you don't get it. So don't judge what you don't understand. You've never been there. No one has ever been. I judged, when I saw my pastor wife, I was like, oh my God, she looks so sweet, so, amazing, whatever. And judging who she is, but not realizing I've never walked in her shoes. I've never been in her shoes. But now that I've been in her shoes, it's a different story. My eyes are open to a lot of things. And I can love people in spite of what they do to me, knowing that there's a possibility that they're going to hurt me again.
Wow.
I can do it and love for real. Not that fake. And I love without debt. But it took a lot of pain, a lot of tears, a lot of crying, that I can love without debt. You don't owe me nothing, regardless of what you did to me. You don't owe me nothing. You don't owe me an apology. You don't owe me nothing. And guess what? I don't either. Because that's not who I am anymore. If I cause you pain. Does that make sense?
That is deep. That is.
Yeah, but you grow. You grow.
Wow. So you don't have to do me anything, but I love you in respect of what you do. Because for me, it's like, wow, that I'm just comprehending that. That is just, that is so, and that is growth. Because I'm not saying that there has to be a condition for me to love you, but as you just said, it's the growth. Like, even knowing that they can still hurt you and you still love them, it's so deep.
Knowing that there's a possibility, if you come around me again, you may hurt me again. And I got to be okay with that. Because I allowed you back in. Because I knew that you could hurt me again. I knew it. Guess what? I could do the same thing to somebody else. Because we are not perfect. Nobody is. We're known to make mistakes. That's how we grow.
I know this has nothing to do, but what about if they keep hurting you? Even though, wouldn't then God then punish them for it?
And that used to be my prayer. Lord, get them. Lord, could you please get them?
Yeah.
No. It's in due time. That goes back to the untying. It's a long-handled spoon. I'm not going to text you as much. I'm not going to call. However you decide to untie, just backing up and making that announcement. I'm always say that, let it be known. I learned that from an amazing friend of mine. But let it be known I'm backing up. You know what I'm saying? But once I back up and you continue to hurt me, you will no longer have access to me. You can't have access to me like that, meaning that I'm not going to always be available. You won't get that close to me to where you're going to have that much access. Does that make sense?
That makes so much sense.
You're not going to have that much access. And if you continue to hurt me, now that's up to God. I promise you, every person that has crossed me wrong, I've seen later whatever God decides to do. And guess what? I'm not asking God to do nothing. I'm not praying for God. God, I pray that you cover my heart, that it does not become so with malice and bitterness that I'm good, regardless of what they do. I need to make sure I'm good for the next woman that's listening to me. I need to make sure I'm good for my children when I talk to them. I need to make sure I'm good. That doesn't mean I don't cry. That doesn't mean I don't hurt when you continue to hurt me. And your hurt is loud. Disrespectful is loud. Your actions are loud. I've seen that happen with many of people. But here's the thing. When I see you, I'm going to love you. No matter what. Even though your actions are loud towards me. But I'm going to love you. Now, I'm not going to be no punching bag. Understand me? I'm not going to be somebody you can just run over. If we're close, depending on the relationship and where we are, I have a best friend, a couple of best friends right now. If we have an issue, we need to talk. We have too many years in. We got to talk, and we're grown enough to talk and have a grown woman's conversation. You know, that's different. But for someone that ain't even in what my vein and my lane and what I'm doing, keep hurting. Go ahead. And I'll let the Lord deal with you. And God will do it when on his time and not mine, because I don't want the Lord. And my prayer is, Lord, just cover them. Please don't hurt them. You know, because I wouldn't want it on me.
Wow, that is so deep, because literally, like, speaking to you about this just empowered me. And I was so excited to speak to you, because I know that you empower and help women. And I said, this is something that I wanted to speak to you about, because I just need some guidance. And I just need to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And I'm so grateful for your knowledge, because I really needed that. Because it's just I just questioned myself, because even though I would love people through the knowing that they will hurt me, I feel like they take advantage of that and just saying that, oh, you meant to forgive because you're a Christian, and you're meant to do that because, you know, and I think a lot of us go through that, knowing that, I mean, maybe I was one of them where I would keep sinning knowing that God will forgive me.
Right.
Do you know? And I feel like most people do that to say that, well, you're supposed to forgive. I can slap you, for example, and because you are serving God, you're supposed to forgive me. And that's why I asked the question. So doesn't then God deal with them, knowing that they hurting his children, and they expect me to forgive them? And I know that I have to forgive, so no bitterness enters in my heart. So when I'm praying to my God, that won't enter me. But then what do that consequence of that person that's constantly poking me for me to react?
Half of the time, you'll never know.
Wow.
You have no idea the tears they cried. You have no idea. Maybe their bank account, they just lost all their money. We have no idea what has went on with that person. But I promise you, you reap what you sow. That's Bible. Whoever, however, I've heard of different people that have done things, and the things that have came upon them that happened. Maybe your car stopped, whatever. But half of the time we don't know. We won't find out till later, because God don't need us to gloat in that. You know, he don't want us to gloat, because we're gonna gloat and be like, see, I knew God was gonna give. Sometimes it's not for us to see. But I promise, just like he get us, he get them. We're all God's children. I don't care how much we mess up or how much this person has caused so much havoc. They still belong to God. They are still God's gift. If God allowed them another chance to be here another day, they're still here. It's just they're not where you are. Not that you're better than, and not that they're less than. They're just not there. Because sometimes everybody can't go where you're going. Everybody, they're not allowed to. And sometimes God will shake it up really, really bad, to where you don't have no other choice but to say, this is our last conversation. We will no longer talk after this. As Moses would say, so let it be written, so let it be done. And be done with it, like, and move on. But I gave you chances, and I untied you. I went through the process. I untied you. You're still hurting. You're still doing some things. So now let's have a conversation, because I not that I owe you that, but just depending on, again, it depends on relationship. If it's my best friend, we need to talk. You know, somebody that's been knowing me for years, I have to have that conversation with you. One of my friends on here now, if it was my girl Charlotte, we have to talk. We've been friends for years. But if it's somebody that I just met, you know, and we're not that close, we don't talk every day, we talk every now and then, you just got to know the relationship. It just depends on the relationship.
And that's so true. Thank you so much. And I wanted to speak to you a bit about the woman ministry, how you empower women, so then other people can come over to your Instagram, and because I know you're promoting something about like a conference now.
It's a pastor's wife, a 4-week program that I'm doing it's 4-week masterclass for pastor wives for this, and that's why for senior pastor wives, so that we could kind of, you know, we're building pastor wives to see that they're not just called to the church, but your call is so much bigger than that. And so we're dealing with identifying, you know, who you are, you know, making sure your marriage is healthy and other things that are going to be able to help your ministry, bring money into your ministry, you know. And 4 weeks of deep diving and dealing with the pastor wife and learning how to use your platform properly. There's a proper way to use your platform and do it in love. And that's my goal for the next 4 weeks. It starts Monday, the 15th. The last day to sign up is Friday. I will only do with this live because it's 1:25. But if you're watching this live until tomorrow, I'm just now doing this, it'll be $65 to tomorrow. So I'll make that special happen just for this live until tomorrow. Just inbox me because I have not set nothing up. I just did that off the cuff. So I gotta go and change everything to get it done. But I would definitely do that for your watchers for $65. So I have that, as well as Instagram. I'm on, my name is Tonya Harden. I do different encouraging words to different people, to the women topics. I'm also on YouTube, where I have a playlist with characteristics of women in the Bible. I deal with singles. I just did a whole single thing dealing with the book. I forgot his name, but I did a book with him, as well as encouraging women that have their businesses, Kingdom Women Network, bringing women together. So as well as on Facebook, if you're a pastor wife, under Pastor Wife Connection, as well as Women of Destiny Community. It's a community that I encourage the women in as well, every now and then, but mostly on my YouTube page. So I drop something every week on my YouTube, but yeah.
I'm definitely going to subscribe because I definitely need your word of wisdom. And you know, this is really nice to have this conversation with you. And do you do things like for like married women as well?
Yes. I also have some things on my YouTube, but I'm about to do something really, really big. I haven't put it out there yet, but it is for married women. I will make sure I share it with you, but I'm not going to share it now.
That's
but
fine.
It's something I'm going to be doing. My husband and I actually, and it'll be something you'll be able to subscribe to and be a part of. So I'll make sure if you see it, I'll share it with you, and you can share it on your page.
I can share it on my page as well. And I just want to tell you, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to share before we go?
Nicole, I love your spirit. I'm giving you virtual hugs.
Virtual hugs.
I thank you so much for allowing me, for thinking of me. I mean, that means I'm so honored. I don't take that lightly at all. The fact that and I'm not going to cry. I've been this all this time with no crying. But I thank you for thinking of me, and the fact that, you know, you're in a whole nother continent or country, I think, United Kingdom. Just to know you allowed me to be a part of this, man, that means the world. And the fact that you saw one of my videos, I just thank you. I'm honored. I don't take it lightly. Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform.
No, thank you. I was like, when I saw your video and then I went on your Instagram, and then I was like, oh my God, I really need you to be a part of it, because your word of wisdom and just how you speak, and I was just like, oh my God, I needed to be a part. So I had to reach out to you. And then when you said yes, I was like, oh my God, she said yes. Like, I was so excited. So the way, like, you're like, I'm thanking you, because we need this. We need that unity. We need another woman, especially a pastor and a pastor wife, to be able to give us that knowledge and that input, because you had so much experience, and through your experience you can then teach us these lessons that you've learned along the way to equip us going on our journey. So I'm just grateful, and God bless you and your family, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Such a beautiful soul.
Thank you. Take care, Pastor.
All right, you too. Have a good one.
You too. Keep safe. Bye.
Bye.